My name is Phil, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Soho Pay. This is my co-founder, Amit. He's our CTO. And what we are here to talk about today is payments for machines, purchasing power for machines. We are based here in New York, and we're really excited to be here. So next slide. Oh, I have the clicker. All right, so this is us. I recently just left American Express. I was there 10 years. The last 2 years, I was trying to push stablecoins there, trying to figure out what Amex is going to do on-chain. And Amit comes from GitHub and Bank of America. So what's the problem that we're really focused on solving? We really think that right now stablecoins are stuck in a debit bucket, right? You have to pre-fund a wallet to then spend it at a merchant, right? And in a lot of the demos that you see with agents, they have a pre-funded wallet, and that's how they make payments. So obviously this is a hurdle that it inhibits, agentic activity, and really it does lack a lot of protections and permissions and auth checks. Although I know a lot of wallets are starting to build that in, but still there's the hallucination risk that your agent just goes and drains your wallet, right? And really, when you think about it, if agents are going to be economic actors, right? We all have a debit card. And we have a credit card, so why shouldn't agents probably have the same type of payment functionality, right? So that's really what we think the ideal solution would be. It would be some sort of platinum card, a credit facility, but one that could do microtransactions. Because that's really where, coming from the legacy payments world, that's really where credit cards fail, is in that sub penny, even sub 30-cent transaction, credit cards just don't work. And I think as agentic commerce grows, that microtransaction layer is going to be super important, right? And it's just going to become more and more important. And really what that is, in our opinion, is a wedge into the payments ecosystem for new players, right? If you can provide a really seamless micropayment service, microcredit service for agents, you can then expand into everyday spend. I think B2B and agentic commerce is going to be huge also. So this is our system, and this slide is a little crazy, but what it's trying to show is, over here, in step one, when the agent goes and hits an X402 endpoint, the X402 sends a payment request. Instead of the agent pulling funds from their pre-funded wallet, they ping our credit layer. We run a bunch of internal permission checks. Do they have credit with us? Are they trying to pay an OFAC-sanctioned wallet? Et cetera, et cetera. Are they doing some weird behavioral things like trying to do a bunch of, transactions really quickly, behavioral patterns? If everything checks out and everything's authorized, we send payment from our vault to the X402 endpoint, and then the data is sent to the agent. And really, it's very seamless. And what it really is trying to do is bring the Amex closed loop system on chain. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard what the closed loop system is, but just for quick reference, at Amex, what we do, Amex is the closed loop, and what that means is we are the issuing bank. We issue your credit card. We're the acquiring bank. That's the merchant's bank. And then we're the network that sends all the auth and sub and settlement messaging back and forth, right? But what's really interesting is how Amex funds transactions on their network. We actually have a savings product. It's a consumer savings product. Anyone can lend into this product. It's considered high yield. It earns you about 3%, a whopping 3%. And Amex funds almost 80% of the transactions on their network from this, what is essentially a pool of liquidity, right? So once I heard that, a light bulb went off, and I was like, oh, you could just do that so much more efficiently on chain with a liquidity pool. You can collapse a lot of the banks, right? And so that's essentially what we did. We built a very secure vault, liquidity pool, and a suite of APIs to make this all happen. And so, like I said before, we're really focused on going after the microtransaction layer, at least at our launch. And we do think that the legacy systems just don't really work for these microtransactions. Stablecoins work great, but you obviously have to pre-fund a wallet, and we're really going after to break down those hurdles and give agents access to credit. And obviously, why now? Because of the proliferation of everything, Hermes, OpenClaw, X402. I think we're going to see stuff like this just continue to grow, obviously, as everyone here probably agrees. And credit's going to be a big part of like allowing these types of platforms and agents and new API developers that were previously talked about flourish in this new type of economy. And that's really what the mission we're on. We're on to really expand economic prosperity with secure financial tools. And we're going to start with microtransactions for agents. So that's us. So I will stop there. And we have a quick demo that we might be able to bring up. How am I doing on time? That was quick. Okay, so this is our demo. This is our Clawbot that we spun up, right? Yep. And basically, we've given the Clawbot a skill, Soho Pay skill, and it's going to be able to make a payment to another Clawbot for a couple of pennies.
So in the terminal, we'll just type on.
Live demos.
Server. The server we are using running our Clawbot. This is the, sorry guys, it's a live demo. All right, so we would like to spin up our Soho skill. So just type Soho Pay. So we are seeing like a Clawbot agent terminal for the Soho Pay, and here we just use like the intent payment for like any specific wallet address in a natural language. Let's say for the sake of the demo, I already have I'm saying like a pay, let's say 0.04 USDC to a specific wallet address, and hit. It will use like intent payment recognition. After that, yeah, you can.
Oh, and also what it's doing, as you can see, is it's doing like our internal policy checks, making sure it's not paying, like I said before, an OFAC listed wallet. It's doing behavioral checks and making sure everything's copacetic, and then boom, the payment is authorized. So we pull a payment, 4 cents from our vault and sent it to that wallet address, and there's a transaction hash. So essentially what this is showing is instead of doing a debit transaction, this agent just did a credit transaction, right? And we think that this opens the landscape of what agents can do and the economic activity that they can participate in. And this is only the beginning. This was a demo from a couple of months ago. What we have now is so much better. So we're really excited, and that's us. That's Soho Pay. So I'll stop right there, and if there's any questions, feel free to.
Because you guys just can't. Sorry, where's the USDC coming from? You guys have a big treasury of USDC, and that's what's financing it, funding it?
Yeah, we have a liquidity pool.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then my second question is: you mentioned your fees 1.5%. Is that on top of the credit APRs? Like, how does that work?
No. So it's just like a credit card transaction, exactly like a credit card. The merchant pays the fee, and as long as you pay your bill at the end of the month, there's no APY.
Amex's closed loop model is that you have view into the intent and you have a view into the cart, basically. Mm-hmm. And so you can either block a transaction that shouldn't happen in the case of a delegated spending, or you can at least assign liability after the fact.
Exactly.
How are you guys thinking about that in a stablecoin setting in trying to basically recreate those benefits on chain?
Yeah, I mean, so I think a big part of this is on the merchant side, or like the endpoint, X4 to endpoints. Like, I know Merit, Sam is really open or focused on like open, payments, but it does add a lot of risk. And, if we're still in the debit bucket, I think that's probably okay. But when you get into the credit bucket, you really have to be careful on the merchant side who you allow in. So for an X4 to endpoint to accept Soho Pay, they just have to add us to their accepts array and then sign up with us internally. So I think that adds a huge safety feature, security layer for us.